Most people are waiting for life to calm down so they can finally feel peace. But let me tell you something straight. Life doesn't slow down for anyone. There's always going to be uncertainty, conflict, pressure, deadlines, loss, surprises, both beautiful and brutal. And if your inner peace is dependent on the world being perfect, you're going to be at the mercy of life every single day. That's not power. That's fragility disguised as routine. The truth is, chaos is a constant. The economy fluctuates. People disappoint. Plans fall through. But that doesn't mean you have to be tossed around by it. You can train your nervous system, yes, actually condition it to stay centered no matter what happens. This isn't about pretending things are okay when they're not. It's about understanding that your peace is not something you find in the outside world. It's something you create inside yourself. And once you realize that, the game changes. The mind will always look for control. It wants to predict, manage, protect. But when things start spinning outside of our expectations, we panic. Why? Because we've conditioned ourselves to only feel safe when everything is under control. But what if you flipped that on its head? What if you made peace the starting point, not the reward? Imagine what happens when calm becomes your default, not your destination. That's when your mind stops being your enemy and starts becoming your ally. There's immense power in recognizing that you're not your thoughts. You're not the chaos, you're the observer. You're the consciousness behind it. That distance, that awareness, is the birthplace of peace. And the more you practice stepping into that space, the more you train your brain to separate stimulus from response, that split-second gap between what happens and what you do next, that's where your life is shaped. That's where leadership is forged, and most people never access it because they're too busy reacting. I'm not here to tell you to become passive or numb. I'm here to tell you that your greatest strength is your ability to remain grounded while the world moves around you. That doesn't make you indifferent, it makes you powerful. It makes you someone who doesn't wait for peace, you bring it. So how do you start? You start by deciding that calm's your responsibility. You stop blaming your circumstances. You stop saying, I'll feel better when, and you start choosing to feel better now. You begin to condition yourself moment by moment, day by day, to breathe deeper when tension arises. You learn to pause, to reflect, to respond. And over time, it becomes who you are. Not someone who panics, not someone who overreacts, but someone who stands in the storm with stillness in their eyes. Because when you realize that chaos isn't the enemy, it's just the environment, you stop fighting it, you start mastering yourself within it, and that's when the world starts to change, because you did first. The world is full of distractions, constant noise, endless demands, people pulling you in every direction. And when we're constantly bombarded with external stimuli, it's easy to lose our sense of self, our clarity, our calm. But here's a powerful realization. You don't have to engage with everything that comes your way. This may seem counterintuitive, especially in a world where we're taught that success is about being everywhere at once, handling everything, multitasking, and responding to every email, text, or call. But the truth is, true mastery over your mind begins with understanding that not everything requires your reaction. In a world where everyone is trying to get your attention, learning to protect your focus is one of the most crucial skills you can develop. Focus is energy. And if you direct your focus outward all the time on other people's problems, on what's happening in the news, or on the noise of life, you'll always be a step behind. You'll never be in control of your own experience. Instead, you'll be reacting, constantly trying to put out fires, managing chaos without ever taking a moment to center yourself. So how do we break free from this constant cycle? It begins with the conscious decision to not react immediately to everything that comes your way. This is not about being passive or shutting yourself off from the world. It's about reclaiming your power by deciding when and how you engage. You must decide when to respond, how to respond, and why to respond, rather than reacting impulsively or unconsciously. This is where mindfulness comes into play. Mindfulness isn't just about sitting in silence for hours. It's about training yourself to stay present in every moment, to not let your mind wander to past regrets or future worries. When you practice mindfulness, you give yourself the space to decide how to respond to any situation. Instead of being swept away by a wave of emotions or thoughts, you become the calm in the center of the storm. And that gives you incredible power over your own experience. But it doesn't stop there. It's not enough to simply choose not to react. You also have to develop a habit of responding with intention. This means slowing down enough to understand your emotional triggers. When you're under pressure, do you tend to lash out? Do you shut down? Do you become passive-aggressive? These are all automatic reactions that, when left unchecked, can sabotage your ability to stay calm. But when you bring awareness to them, you can start to make different choices. The next time you're in a stressful situation, rather than letting your emotions take the lead, you take a deep breath, step back, and think about how you can respond in a way that aligns with your values and goals. This ability to pause and reflect gives you an incredible advantage in every area of life, whether it's in your career, your relationships, or your health. By learning how to protect your focus, by choosing not to react impulsively and instead responding with intention, you give yourself the clarity to think through situations. You'll no longer be swept away by the emotions or chaos around you. You'll be the one in control, the one who calmly handles life's challenges with grace and insight. At the core of all of this is one fundamental truth. You are the master of your own experience. You control what you give your energy to, what you engage with, and how you show up in the world. When you protect your focus, you protect your peace. You create an internal world that isn't dictated by external circumstances. And when you master your mind in this way, the external world no longer has power over you. Remember, calm isn't the absence of chaos. It's the ability to stay grounded in the middle of it. When you practice this consistently, you'll begin to see that nothing can shake you. You'll have control. You'll have peace. And ultimately, you'll achieve more because you've built the foundation for a life of true stability and success. To truly master your mind and stay calm, no matter what happens, one of the most essential skills you can develop is the ability to embrace uncertainty. We live in a world that thrives on the need for certainty. We crave answers, solutions, and a clear path forward. We're wired to seek security, to know what's next, to control our environment. And while this instinct is natural, it can also be one of the biggest obstacles to inner peace and mental clarity. When we're constantly trying to control everything, whether it's our circumstances, our relationships, or the outcome of a project, we are living in resistance to what is. This resistance creates stress, anxiety, and an internal conflict that drains us. Why? Because the truth is, life is unpredictable. No matter how hard we try, we can never control every single factor that impacts our life. And when we resist this truth, we set ourselves up for frustration and disappointment. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that you should just throw in the towel and accept chaos. What I'm saying is that you must learn to become comfortable with the unknown. You must embrace uncertainty as a natural part of life rather than something to fear or avoid. This mindset shift allows you to be flexible, adaptable, and ultimately more at peace with the ebb and flow of life. You no longer waste energy trying to control what you can't. Instead, you focus on what you can control. Your thoughts, your responses, and the meaning you assign to any situation. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time you felt stressed because things weren't going as planned? When the curveballs came flying, did you resist them? Did you try to force things back into alignment only to make it worse? Now contrast that with a time when you were able to simply roll with the punches. When something unexpected happened, instead of trying to control it, you adapted and made the best of it. What did that feel like? Likely you felt a sense of relief, of calm, because you weren't fighting the flow of life anymore. The key here is recognizing that uncertainty doesn't have to be a source of fear. In fact, it can be a source of freedom. When you let go of the need to control everything, you free yourself from the burden of perfectionism, of needing everything to go exactly as you expect. You allow yourself the space to breathe, to pivot, and to enjoy the journey rather than stressing over every obstacle. This is the heart of staying calm in chaos. Accepting that not everything is going to go your way, and that's okay. The more you practice this, the more resilient you become. You'll stop seeing challenges as threats and start seeing them as opportunities for growth, for learning, for adaptation. Life won't always be easy or predictable, but it will always be full of potential if you choose to see it that way. To truly embrace uncertainty, you also need to shift your focus from outcomes to the process. Too often we tie our peace of mind to a specific result. I'll be happy when I get that promotion. I'll feel calm when I finish this project. But what happens when things don't go as planned? You lose that sense of peace because your happiness is dependent on external factors. Instead, focus on the process, the journey, the learning, the growth. The more you immerse yourself in the process, the more you can find satisfaction in the moment regardless of the final outcome. When you can detach your sense of peace from the need for certainty, you will find that your inner calm becomes an unshakable foundation. The storms may come, but you will remain grounded, not because you have everything figured out, but because you know how to embrace whatever comes your way. This is where true mental resilience is born, not in trying to control the future, but in being at peace with the present. Knowing that you can handle whatever life throws at you. Remember this, life is unpredictable, and that's not something to fear, it's something to embrace. The more you practice this, the more you'll find that staying calm is not about controlling everything around you, but about mastering your ability to stay centered no matter what life brings. And when you can do that, you unlock a sense of peace and clarity that will empower you to move forward with confidence and strength, no matter the circumstances. One of the most transformative shifts you can make in your life is learning how to train your mind to stay calm by choosing your responses. Life is not about the events that happen to us, it's about how we react to those events. In any given situation, the power to control our state and our response is always within our grasp. The challenge is that too often we allow external circumstances to dictate our emotional state. We become reactive, responding to stress, frustration, or anger, instead of being proactive and controlling how we show up in the face of adversity. When you understand this truth, you gain access to an incredible level of personal power. You are not a victim to your circumstances. You are the creator of your experience. Think about it. How many times have you allowed an email, a conversation, or a setback to derail your day? How often do you let the unexpected twist of life send you into a spiral of stress and anxiety? This happens because we often believe that the events themselves cause our emotional reactions. But the truth is, it's not the event, it's the meaning we attach to the event that determines our state. What does that mean in practical terms? It means that the next time something doesn't go according to plan, you have the choice. You can choose to respond with frustration, anger, or fear, allowing the situation to take control of your emotions. Or you can decide to pause, breathe, and consciously choose a different response. You can decide that the challenge in front of you is an opportunity for growth, a chance to learn, to adjust, and to move forward more effectively. You can choose to find peace in the moment, knowing that you are in control of how you process and react to the world around you. This is where the practice of mindfulness comes into play. Mindfulness is the act of becoming aware of your thoughts and emotions in real time. It's the ability to notice the internal triggers, those thoughts, judgments, and stories that are starting to rise within you. And then it's the ability to interrupt those patterns and choose a response that aligns with your highest self. By practicing mindfulness, you create a space between the stimulus and your reaction. In that space, you have the power to decide how you want to show up. The more you practice this, the more it becomes ingrained in who you are. Over time, you start to rewire your brain. Instead of automatically reacting to situations with stress or anxiety, your brain learns to default to calmness, clarity, and control. This is a learned skill, one that requires consistent practice and self-awareness. But the results are profound. When you are in control of your reactions, you no longer become a slave to external circumstances. You remain anchored in your power, no matter what is happening around you. It's also important to note that choosing your response doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. It's not about pretending to be calm when you're not. Instead, it's about acknowledging your emotions without letting them control you. It's about giving yourself the space to feel what you feel, whether it's frustration, disappointment, or anger, but then deciding not to let those feelings dictate your actions. You can experience your emotions fully and at the same time make a conscious choice about how you respond, how you think, and how you act. This is where your real power lies, in your ability to choose your state. Your emotions don't have to be your master. You have the ability to be the observer of your emotions rather than the reactor to them. And when you develop this ability, you become far less susceptible to the chaos around you. You develop a resilience, a calmness, and a clarity that allows you to move through life with grace, regardless of the external circumstances. The next time you face a challenging situation, ask yourself, what is the meaning I am attaching to this? And then ask, how can I choose a response that aligns with the calm, centered version of myself? By practicing this, you'll start to train your mind to stay calm no matter what happens. And with that power, you'll find that you're no longer a prisoner of your circumstances. You are the master of your experience, able to navigate even the most turbulent waters with composure and strength. Remember, the ability to choose your response is your superpower. It's time to embrace it, trust it, and watch how it transforms not just your mind, but your life.